Hello, my friends. Welcome to another week of at-home curriculum activities with Cinnamon and Megan. We're at week 20, and the theme this week is learning together, brought to you by the letter U. But first, Megan's going to tell us why children have lousy breaks.
Yes, I will tell you about that. First of all, you need to understand that children have lousy breaks. So this is not unique to your child. My child won't listen. My child can't transition. This is children. They have lousy breaks. So what does that mean? That means if they're in the middle of doing something and you expect them to drop it and move on to the next thing, they can't do that. That you have to teach them those skills, and even as you teach them, you have to wait for them to get old enough. But some ways that you can start to incorporate that to teach them to kind of shut off their brain or stop their thoughts to be able to focus on something else. A couple of activities. First, you can do freeze dance. So that's always fun. Just put on any music and explain it to them. When the music stops, you stop. And then do it with them. Music stops. Freeze. And then wait for it to start up again, and we move our bodies. And so this is really training their brain to start and stop. And then something else you can do to get them to focus and to use their brains in that way is a game that these are just animals you can use. You can just, it's really basically Simon Says. So you can say, Simon said, do this, Simon said, but if you wanted to use animals to make it fun for kids, you can say, anytime the sheep says to do something, you do it. When the horse says, then you don't do it. So you can say, the sheep says, touch your head. The sheep says, touch your toes. Horse says, touch the ground. I didn't say sheep said. And so it's just a fun way to get them to, try to hone those skills a little bit. But remember, they have lousy breaks. You need to give them time to transition. You need to give them warnings. It's developmentally appropriate. So anything you wanted to add to that, Cinnamon?
No, but I think it's a great segue into the theme. Because it really goes hand in hand together with learning together. So thank you for that. So, absolutely. So like learning together, some of the things that we're going to be talking about is, like our discussion questions, sharing, having patience, working with a partner, things that they have some experience with and some things they don't have experience with. Before I dive deep into that, I'll jump back really quick to the books. The books that I have listed here all have to do with going to school. But also there's some other great books you can choose from. So one book that I have here, and just thinking about learning together, anytime you and your child read a book together, you're learning together. So here we have Lola Loves Stories, and there she's reading with her dad. And, so any story, you're sharing something with your child that they haven't quite learned yet. Maybe it's how to read the book on their own. Maybe it's even identifying that words make up stories, stuff like that. So, here's something that you could use, another book that you can use that pertains to the theme. Also, just getting into the discussion question. So your child might have experience with sharing, because maybe they've gone to school already, maybe they've attended daycare, maybe they have other siblings or around a lot of family members. But if not, if it's just you, like if you just have one child and it's just you and them, maybe their first experience with sharing is with you. And so a lot of the things that you can do together to practice, like things like Megan said, things that you could practice together, you can do, directly with your child. But also this is going to go along with doing partner work, because the sharing thing that you're going to do with your child is going to teach them how to be a partner as well. And it's also going to teach them patience, because they're going to learn to take turns. So some examples I have of that is playing cards. So some of us have memory games at home already, which is great. If you don't already have a memory game, you can create one yourself, or you could just use playing cards. And, maybe you don't want to use 52 playing cards, which is absolutely fine. I would say maybe just pull out all the face cards, pull out the kings, the queens, something that's very identifiable to your child, something that they can really distinguish against, lay them all out, and then take turns, trying to find the matches. You don't find a match, you turn the cards back over and say, okay, it's your turn now. And it's important to use that language with your child. It's your turn. Now it's my turn, because, that's something that they're learning to understand. So, just repeating it, of course, a lot, but it's going to help get it into their brains better. The more you talk about it, the more you do it. Other activities you could do with your child where you can be taking turns and stuff, and also working on another skill is I have a shapes collage. Now, depending on where your child is with theirs, they may be already identifying shapes. So maybe maybe they can take a old magazine or something and they can look through it themselves and find pages that have different shapes on them. Maybe they even have the skill to cut those shapes out themselves. But if they don't, you will go ahead and find the shapes. You go ahead and cut them out yourself. And then you just say to them, hey, you find all the circles. You just put them in a pile, all the shapes that you already cut out. You find all the circles, I'll find all the squares, and then we'll glue them on this paper together. So here's an example that I have. I have some circular shaped things here that I cut out already, some square shaped things here, and that's something that you guys can do together. And that's partner work. That's working as a team, working as a partner, and getting one project done with two people. And a lot of that happens in school. So, and then of course you can certainly move on to other shapes and they get older, more difficult shapes like an octagon or stuff like that, and so on and so forth. And it's going to help them build their knowledge of shapes in general. Also, something else that I came up with was my how was my day journal. My how was my day journal. Why I came up with this is because we ask our children all the time how their day was when they come home from school. And I know a lot of times, or not a lot of times, I know right now children are actually walking into buildings necessarily. Some are, but not all of them are. So it's a different experience for everyone. But still, this can be used either way. You might ask your child, what did you learn today? What did you do today? And they're just like, I don't know, nothing. That's their answer, but that's not true. And so making it a little more fun, they might actually give you an answer. And so creating this little journal here, instead of them even having to write words or feeling like it's homework, they could just draw a picture. And so maybe you start it by filling it with a question. What did I do today that was fun? I ... And then, have your child draw something that they did that was fun. And then maybe you take the next page. What's something I did that was fun today? And then it feels more real because it's, it's not just them having to do it. You guys are doing it together, and it's, it's teaching them to be conversational. And then maybe one day when you're sitting at the dinner table having dinner together and you ask them how their day was, they'll have a real answer for you. So some other things that I worked on. So as far as free play goes, we're just going to keep practicing. So practicing sharing patience and taking turns by playing games that require it. So, hopscotch, freeze tag, playing memory, different things that require them to say, or require you to say, okay, now it's your turn. Now it's my turn. Wait, and things that they just have to wait a second, like even when you're hopping hopscotch, they just got to wait a second until it's their turn to do it, and they will get the gist of it. And, you just continuously practice it. As far as math and science goes, something that you could do is you can do a sensory table scavenger hunt. And so anything can be a sensory table, a box, a Rubbermaid bin, whatever you have that's a decent size that you can fill with things that you want your child to look for specifically, and things, to kind of, throw them off. So like maybe you want to put in things that like, maybe you'll put in a bunch of round objects. Maybe you'll put in some little balls or stuff like that, things that are shaped round. And then maybe you throw some Legos and stuff in there or whatever. And then you make a list. You create a list of the things you want your child to find. And you guys can go back and forth looking for things, and they're doing that scavenger hunt. And so that's also something that, will help them practice taking turns. And as far as outdoor time goes, we've gone on a lot of nature walks, but, since life isn't as normal as it used to be, one of the favorite pastimes nowadays is taking a walk. Mm-hmm. So taking a nature walk, collecting things, rocks, sticks, leaves, things that they find out that are safe, not garbage, but, things from nature. And maybe even taking them home. And you both have your own separate bags. I have my bag of things that I collected. They have their bags of things that they collected. And then maybe you pick one of those things and you describe it. And you see if they can guess what it is. Maybe you like, it's hard, it's round. I wouldn't throw it at anyone because it might hurt them or something like that. And they're like, is it a rock? Or whatever. And then maybe they can do the same. They can take their turn describing what's in there. So it's building the skill of them being able to be descriptive, because that's going to help them with, language and literacy in the future. But also even just the taking turns. It's redundant, but it's practice. Because how long are they going to be in school for? They could be in school up until they're 24?
Yeah.
No, higher. Doctors.
Well,
lawyers.
yeah, true.
Right. And so that pretty much concludes everything that I wanted to touch on. Megan, is there anything that you wanted to add?
No, I think that is a really great summary of the curriculum this week. Looks good.
All right, friends, tune in next week. We'll be here again, week 21. What will the theme be? Surprise.
Goodbye.
Kidding. Take care, everyone. Have a great, great week.